So welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to look at the Smart Command control panel, which is this thing behind me. And that can control most of the things that go on in your van. Right, when you arrive on site and you've connected up your electric, you'll find that this panel will be off. So what you need to do is press the button on the left hand side and the panel will come on. So just tap it and you can see the display. So I'm just going to work my way around the screen. Up here is the internal temperature, there is the external temperature, so it's 12 degrees inside, 8 degrees outside, and the relative humidity is 63%. I think that's the humidity inside the van, but I'm not absolutely sure. It's got the date on it, the time on it. Over here you've got L for leisure battery, which is being charged by the mains. The lightning symbol signifies mains electricity, and the vehicle battery is 100% charged, and it's not charging at the moment. Over here you've got the water pump on or off, the awning light on or off. Lighting, what you've got here are the front lights, so the lights in the lounge area and the lights in the bedroom area, and you've got a dimmer. But first of all, press the button and the lights go off. Press the middle again, come on, and you can dim that however you want it, however the mood takes you. Same in the bedroom, off, on, and I want a little bit dimmer in the bedroom. Next to that you've got the power. So you've got the leisure battery over here, vehicle battery over here. The leisure battery has been charged, you've got the lightning symbol, it's taking 0.7 of an amp at the moment, and it's 14.2 volts, so it's on charge at the moment, the leisure battery. Solar panel over here, and that says, well, it doesn't say very much at the moment because it's not actually needed. The vehicle battery here is basically looks like it's on trickle charge from solar. You see every so often I get the little solar symbol there, and it's just giving a little top up, so it keeps the vehicle battery nice and healthy at 13.4 volts. Press this button and it tells me what the mains is doing. So over here, that's how much current I'm taking from the mains hookup supply. Over here is the limit to how much current you're allowing the van to use. By setting this limit, you can reduce the amount of current that the heating uses. Now, for instance, if you're on a site that's got 10 amp electricity supply, you might want to turn that down to 10 amps. By doing that, you won't use more than 10 amps over here. If you do, it will cut the power supply to the heating, so heating will go off. So you might want to just reduce the heating if that starts to happen. But most, going the other way, most club sites are 16 amp supply, so it's probably quite safe to put it up to about 15 amps. It's quite interesting just watching what's going on when you see what's on the mains, how much you're using. Hours of fun. It tells me it's on the leisure battery at the moment, so power is going to the leisure battery. Next one is water. 2 tanks in here, obviously a motorhome, so we've got a freshwater tank and a wastewater tank. We've got tank heaters here as well. Now, tank heaters will come on as long as there is at least a quarter of a tank full of whatever water there is, and what they will do is they'll prevent frost forming in that tank. They will work either on 240 volts as we're on at the moment, or they'll actually work whilst you're going along as well, so it will prevent the tank freezing whilst you're going along. It's always worth having the tank heaters on when there's a danger of freezing. level alerts are on, and they will send me an alert to my mobile phone, and they'll beep the panel if it falls below the 25% level there. So I'm just going to empty the fresh water, and I've clicked that. I'm going to confirm, and that will empty the fresh water. You hear the valve opening, and that lets the water out, so we should have fresh water escaping there now. I probably don't want to empty all the water, so if I decide to stop that, hit the empty fresh again, confirm you want to stop draining, and the valve closes. Same with the empty waste. I won't empty the waste because we don't know what's in there, but you would just hit confirm to empty waste, and that will flash and empty the tank. I think it stays on for about 10 minutes, stays open for 10 minutes. After that it closes automatically. You've also got frost alerts, so if it falls below, I think it's 3 degrees, if it falls below a certain level, you get an alert to your mobile phone, and this panel will beep to tell you that there's a danger of freezing, in which case switch the tank heaters on. So back to the panel. Heating next. This is on manual, so you can see set on manual. 2 symbols there, I mean it's on 2 kilowatts, so it goes up to 3 kilowatts, so I'm going to put it on 3 kilowatts, off, 1, normally leave it on 2. You can switch the gas on, you can have the gas and electric on if you want, or you can just have the gas on. If you're not plugged into mains, that's where you put the gas heating on. I'm going to leave it on 2 kilowatts electric, and that's the water heater as well. If you want to switch the water heater on manually, you do it here. And you can boost the water heater as well. You give it a short-term boost, and that's useful if someone's had a shower and you need a shower as well. Give it a little boost and you can have a shower. The air temperature you set here, so if I turn this up, you might hear the heating come on. There we go, heating coming on, so I know I've got to start warming up. I'll just turn it down, because normally when I'm on the drive in the winter I'll leave it on like 11, which is a bit of slight frost protection, I guess. It won't get too cold in here, but I won't be using a load of heating. I have a timer. A timer is really useful when you're on site. It says I'm on timer, on electric. You just heard the heating coming on. That's because it's taken account of what the timer settings are. If I want to override the temperature, I've got an override here, so I can put the override on and I can turn the temperature, and it will override what I've got set in the timer. And I can do the same with the water. I can put the water heater on, I can boost the water. Just turn the override off. We'll have a look at the timer. Timer, you get to the button over there. 4 settings for the timer, 4 levels for the timer, and they mean what time you want the heating and the water to come on. So if I look at timer 1, up here it's coming on at 6:30. The temperature I want the inside to be is 22 degrees, and I want the water heater to be on its normal setting. I've got similar setting at 5:30. At 19:30 I want to reduce the temperature a little bit, and I don't need the water heater on, so that's set on off. By 11:30 I've turned the temperature down, so we're a bit more comfortable, 18 degrees when we're in bed, and the water heater's off. So very simple. Back home, that's water, that's heating. Look at the fridge first and I'll come back to the settings. So the fridge is set on 3, and that's, I think, goes up to 5, I think, 4 or 5. I found that 3 works perfectly well. And the symbol over here gives you an idea what sort of temperature inside the fridge. It says optimal. Tell you if it's too warm, in which case you need to step this up a little bit. Down here is the mode you're using. Now it's set on auto at the moment. I can have it so the fridge is off, obviously on auto. Now on auto it will automatically choose between gas, 12 volts and 230 volts. If I'm plugged in, it will choose 230 volts automatically. If we set off and we're driving, it will switch to 12 volts DC. If we've stopped and we've got no engine running and we've got no electric, it will switch to gas. So that's the order of priority, if you like. So mains, driving, off-grid. But you can actually just manually choose which heating you want to use. I can't use 12 volts at the moment. If I do that, it will tell me I've got no 12 volts for the fridge, so not good. I can put it on 230 volts, or better still, just leave it on auto. And I very rarely need to touch anything in there, you just leave it on there, and it, like I say, it will choose between gas, 12 volts, 230 volts automatically. Really good system. Settings are the next thing, and really what you've got in here are date and time. So you can choose the date and time, date and the day, a little bit of information about the model numbers. Down here it's paired with 2 phones. I'll come on to that a little bit later. You can delete the phone from the Bluetooth pairing, I'm assuming if you upgrade your phone or something like that. You can turn the key beep off. You can turn the screen brightness up 40%, 60%, 80%, 100. I tend to leave it on 20%. And how quickly do you want the screen to go off when you're not using it? It's set on 5 minutes. I won't set that because I have to go all the way through to 60 minutes to put it back. If you hold the settings button for 5 seconds, it gives you the advanced settings. Quickly just run through some of these. I would not suggest changing any of these, but what it tells you, I'm just working my way across the top here. I've got both tanks fitted, so fresh and waste. We're a motorhome. We use a Dometic fridge and an Aldi heater. We've got fitted tank heaters. The language is in English. I haven't got air conditioning. Show the panel on startup. It's not shown on startup, so I could, if I wanted to, have the panel showing straight away when I switch this unit on. I haven't got a radio module. The radio module refers to the caravan that would have a radio module, and you could control the radio from this panel. There's plenty of videos that show this being used in a caravan. That's to do with automatic trailer control for a caravan. That's the awning light, whether you want the awning light on or off. You can have it on or off, and that's to do whether you want the pump on or off. And those are the settings really when you switch the unit on. That's what you want to come up, so you don't need to touch those, it's just useful to know. Press the button again and there's a bit more information. It's a little bit about step automation. When you want the step to come out, and it would be set, if I had a step, to come down within 3000 milliseconds. That's 3 seconds of pressing unlock. The awning light comes on there when I unlock. The tracker is triggered when you start the engine. That's for calibrating the ammeter. The awning light comes on and stays on for 50 seconds there. You can change that. 60 seconds, 70. You have to go all the way through. Oh, do 40 seconds. Yeah, this button tells you what level you want the LED dimmers to come on, so I wouldn't touch that. That remembers that the last lighting mode you had, So if you've set the dimmer to 40%, it will remember it. This is interesting because this tells the system how to use the solar charging. So you can have it charging just the leisure battery or the vehicle battery, or just leave it on smart. And the same goes for the electric charging, the 230 volt charging. Have it on normal or smart. That'd be sensible to leave it on smart, really, wouldn't it? And go back home. Of course, you can control a lot of things with your mobile phone as well, so I'm just going to show you that. And you've got this little app called Swift Command. So this is the app. I've just got my mobile set up on a little tripod so we can see what's going on. So many of the features that you've got on the Swift Command control panel are on the mobile app. So for instance, I could switch on the pump. There's obviously a delay sometimes between various things touching the screen and when it actually happens. There's a bit of a Bluetooth delay. And switch on the awning light, so it could welcome us back. I could check the lighting. It's quite useful if you want to make it appear like there's someone in the van, I suppose. So you could switch the lights on. Dim the lights if you want to. You can check what's going on the power side of things, and it tells you on the vehicle battery here. Leisure battery is 3.5, 0.1 amp solar and 3.6 volts 0 amps in the vehicle, and it tells me that the mains hookup is charging the vehicle battery at the moment. It tells me how much current I'm taking off the mains, and there's the limiter that we looked at earlier, set to limit the amount of electricity that's allowed into the heating system to 15 amps. I can check the water levels. What I can't do here is I can't empty the fresh and the wastewater from it, which I think would actually be a really good feature. You could be able to stand outside your van and press the button and watch the water empty, which would be quite a nice feature to have. Maybe in a future release they'll do that. But I can check that I've got the tank heaters on and that I've got level alerts on there as well. I'm going to check what's happening on my heating. So if I was away from the van, presumably I could switch the heating back on. I must admit, I don't tend to use a lot of this, but it's quite useful when you're indoors and you don't want to go outside. Check the van if you're nearby. Bear in mind this is Bluetooth, so you do need to be within a few yards of the motorhome, otherwise this is simply not going to work. So I can check on what's happening on my timer. Oh sorry, timer's down there, isn't it? Yeah. So the same as we saw earlier, you've got the settings for the timer. I tried these save and load things. I don't think they've got that working properly. In theory you should be able to save the settings and reload them, but I couldn't get them to work. You can check what's happening with your fridge. Yep, it's cold, and you've got all the settings. You can put on gas, 12 volts, 230 volts, or switch it off. And you've got the setting to, I won't touch it obviously because it will disconnect the Bluetooth. You can change the Bluetooth settings. So on the main screen, the second thing you've got is the remote features. So you have to log into this, and what this does is allows you to access the van remotely by mobile phone. There's actually a SIM card in the van, and you can connect to that using this app. I'll go back into remote features, and there are various things you can do with it. It's not quite as fully featured as the Bluetooth app. I can locate the van in case I forgot where I parked it. I won't do that now because that will show you where it's parked. I can check the levels. If I go download, it connects via the phone to the SIM card mobile in the van, and it tells me what the internal temperature is, the external temperature, the humidity, fresh water and wastewater, and what the leisure and vehicle battery are doing. Can't actually get to the, doesn't quite fit on the screen there. 13.5 the leisure battery. Well, that's quite useful, making sure your batteries are not getting discharged. I suppose if you were in storage, that'd be quite a useful thing to have. Check on your battery. What else you got? You got levels. You can have a look at a history thing. The idea of this is you can look at what the levels were previously at a previous date. So if you wanted to look back, I don't know, last Monday, and then you download it, then you create. That's right, you have to press the create button. That's it, and then it gives you a bit of a history on the leisure battery, the vehicle battery, and the fresh water. Not sure how useful that is. You can locate your dealer. If you press this button, it updates everything. It's basically connecting to the van to get some information about the power and the lighting and various things. So you can switch the power off. So you can put the heating on manual. So if you wanted to warm the van up before you were going away, it's on electric, or you could put it on gas, or you could have it on the timer. I'm going to leave it on manual there. They've got a facility for a 7-day timer, but when I clicked that earlier, it's not working and they need an update for the app or something. The idea is there's a weekly timer. That's the override that you saw earlier, allows you to override the temperature when you're on timer. Tank heaters are on, so I know that. I could switch the awning light on. This is the slowest switch ever, but there you go. It's over mobile phone. I'll switch it off. And I can switch the lights and then change the dimmer on there. So there's a few things that you can do on the remote app. I wouldn't say you can do everything on the remote app, but you have got some functionality that allows you to connect to the van remotely when you're not near it. So you could be anywhere in the world, and I suppose it's allowing you to check back on your van, you know, where it is, what it's up to. Has it still got electric in it? The battery's all right? Is the water okay? So that is quite useful. Access to the Swift website, to Swift Talk, Swift Connect Direct, Swift TV where their videos are, and access to the handbooks. And that gives you the handbooks on the website. I think the app user guide is on there as well. Yeah, so you've got the user guide for the app as well. Swift TV, if you want to watch a bit of their advertising. Swift Connect Direct, I think this is the one I couldn't get to work. Yeah, I think this is an Android problem, that it doesn't allow you to use this link. I don't quite understand why. Swift Talk is their networking site. You can talk about all things Swift, and Swift website gets you to their website. And and that's where you enter your password and whether you want the alerts. So just have a quick look at the alerts. So I've got the alerts enabled, and if I check on alarm alerts, so up to 1 email and 1 SMS per day, that's what all that's doing there. Frost alerts, I've got that enabled, and you can set the warning for what temperature you want the warning at. So if it goes to 0 degrees, you'll get an SMS and an email. I'll see if I can find you an example of one of those. Show you that in a minute. A similar thing for the vehicle battery. It just says if there's a problem with the battery, it tells you. It doesn't allow you to say what voltage is a problem. Water tank, and that's if you can set that so if the water falls below a certain level. I think I'd probably actually want to put that on 0 and confirm that, rather than having it on -2. I think -2 is probably a bit late. Yeah, how many emails you want per day. Yeah, so that's quite useful. See if I can show you some of those alerts in there. Right, that's it for this little video. I hope you found it useful. As for a conclusion, I think the smart panel itself, the panel up here behind me, is really useful. It makes operating the motorhome so much easier, rather than messing about with the central heating controls. Like I said, I made a whole video about the Audi panel up there, link above, and everything controlled on this panel here makes it much easier. I'm not convinced how useful the app is on the phone, and I would say it's a nice to have. You know, you're sitting outside and you want to control the lights or put the heating up a bit, and you can do it. I mean, you know, if you're sitting on the bed and you're feeling really lazy, you can use your phone, you can switch the lights up or dim them down, or you know, whatever you need to do, and that's quite nice. The remote feature of the app, that would be really good when you've perhaps got your motorhome or your caravan in storage. You can check on the battery, you can check on the water, check on all the important things are still in order whilst your vehicle's away from you. So yeah, that is really good. So that's my conclusion. If you've got any comments, leave them below, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them. If not, someone else might be able to. So I'll catch up with you in the next one. Give us a thumbs up, remember to subscribe, hit the notification icon if you haven't already done so, and I'll see you on the next one.